And good morning, everyone. Welcome to our fourth annual Strolling Thunder. So excited to be here today and looking forward to hearing from you and meeting you throughout the day. The day has finally arrived. Before I begin, just let me thank all of you. So many parents and ACNJ staff worked together to make this event possible. This is our fourth annual event, our second one meeting virtually because of the pandemic, but I'm really excited about this one because this one is about you and about hearing from you in terms of what you believe and need for your children. So thank you again for joining us. This year has been an incredibly challenging year, I think, for families, certainly, as they've struggled with job issues, with childcare issues, with school issues. It's been an amazing and difficult year, I know, and we've survived it. Seeing you all here today is so positive. It's also been a challenging year for childcare as well. As you know, childcare was closed, reopened, opened under different guidelines. It's been a struggle. And for many childcare providers who operate on the margins, this has been a year of difficulty. But we're at a point where we have opportunity ahead. The Federal American Rescue Plan is giving money to every state to help with their childcare system. New Jersey is going to get close to over $700 million, close to $1 billion to use for its childcare system in a number of ways. One, to stabilize the system we have. Two, to build capacity to meet needs that are not being met. And three, what I think is most exciting, it gives us the opportunity to reimagine childcare and think about the childcare system that you want for yourself and for your children. This is a time to think big and think about what that system should look like. And that's what today is all about. Today is to hear from you about your ideas, your dreams, your thoughts. ACNJ is committed most of all to listening. And as you'll see when we talk about the breakout rooms and the individual conversations that will take place, to getting your ideas down on paper and putting together into a document that we can share with our state leaders and our congressional leaders. Many of you participated with ACNJ over the last year in meetings that we held with our representatives in Washington. You should thank yourselves and give yourselves some credit because it was your words, your efforts, your needs that convinced Congress to enact the law that has created the American Rescue Plan and the money that's coming to New Jersey. This is the next step in advocacy. Let's make sure that we use this in a way that you need and want for your children. So that's what today is about. And I'm going to introduce Joanna Gagis, who has joined us from NJ TV to moderate a panel of three parents who will set the tone and the stage for the ideas that we'll discuss today.
I'm Joanna Gagis. I'm a correspondent with NJ Spotlight News. We're moving now in the program to a discussion with parents. We're going to talk about the federal funding that's coming to New Jersey through the American Rescue Plan Act and how they envision those funds should be used to help our communities, to help our families. I'm going to start with Jackie. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. Jackie, you were the advocate in the National Strolling Thunder event recently. You're advocating for quality care for our kids. Why are you so passionate about this, Jackie?
Hi. So I'm passionate about this because I struggled after having my first child. It was very difficult for me to find childcare and then affordable childcare. And I felt as a working mom, it shouldn't be that hard because we have to go back to work. We have to put our children in schools, and we should have quality childcare for every child. So that's why I decided to advocate for childcare.
Jackie, when you were trying to get affordable care for your child, you said that it was a really cumbersome and invasive process. Just describe a little bit for us what you went through.
So even just trying to find a subsidy program that would even take us was a process. So you have to go online, you have to find where and what county you belong to. And it's not just what you make, it goes into family history, it goes into just different things that are not needed, in my personal opinion. They begin to ask very, very intrusive questions and require a lot of documentation before they even grant you any sort of money. And even if you are 50 cents over, they will cut you off despite what's going on in your life, despite what you may have for rent, what the basic needs of your child. They don't even think further than like the needs of a person.
It comes down to the dollar, right?
It comes down to the dollar, and it comes down to what you say on your documentation that allows you to get the program.
Jackie, you're a mom of 2 now. Tell us how old your kids are.
I am. So I have a 4-year-old named Seven, and I have a 1-year-old named Genesis.
We're going to come back to you and dig a little deeper into something you just raised. But Danielle, I want to thank you. Thanks for joining us today, Danielle. Tell us how many kids you have and how old they are.
I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old who also happens to be disabled and a 4-year-old.
You really struggled early on trying to find quality care for your son who's disabled. Can you talk to us about what that struggle looked like?
Well, he was expelled from his daycare. He had just barely turned 2. He was expelled for biting. And we were told that they didn't have the resources they needed to keep him or the other children safe. We weren't even given a day's notice. We were simply told, you have to come and get him. We tried to get early intervention because clearly if he isn't able to handle daycare, he clearly has some need, and early intervention is supposed to be there to help. But because he didn't have a physical delay and he didn't have a milestone delay, he was refused from that. And I remember sitting in my car, him asleep in his car seat, and going through every single provider. I think it was over 80 providers in our network, trying to find somebody that would take an infant that had mental health issues, and being told he's too young. Well, no one does that. And crying and then Googling, trying to find these things. And I ended up calling a children's mental health professor, I think at Rutgers, who said, well, there's this therapeutic nursery, call them. I don't know if they'll be able to help you, but call them. And we ended up enrolling him for just under 3 months at a therapeutic nursery. And he was supposed to be there for a year and then transition into an IEP in school. And then the state pulled the funding and pulled the funding right out from under us. And after that, earlier mentioned did come in, but he had 4 months of services before we entered public school. And we're still to this day fighting for appropriate services and care for him. Like there's no after school available to us, and it's the same story from 2 years old till now. And we have privilege and other people don't. So if I'm struggling with this, I can't imagine what it's like to be a single mom, to be a minority, to not have the time to deal with this. So that's it in a nutshell.
And that struggle started when he was under 2 years. Is that correct?
It started when he was under 2, yes.
Is the failure here that there simply aren't that many early diagnoses, and so there aren't many childcare facilities set up for this, or that even with early diagnosis, there just aren't the facilities in the state?
It's both. The wait list for even diagnosing autism in New Jersey, which is supposedly one of the best states for children with autism. We were told that it was an 18-month wait list, and then I had to call every single day for a cancellation appointment. But also there are no facilities. Unless your child is severely disabled enough and you have the resources to get them into certain programs, or your child is barely disabled and they can function in a general education setting, there's nothing available. So it's both that there isn't treatment and that there isn't placement and that there isn't identification.
We're going to dig into that a bit deeper, but I want to introduce Nancy right now. Nancy, thank you so much for being with us today. First, tell everyone how many kids you have and how old they are.
Hi, thank you for having me here and share my experience with all the moms. I have a 6 years old boy, 6 years old daughter and 4 years old boy.
And you came to the United States from Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. Talk about your experience trying to find childcare for your kids.
Oh, yes, it's too hard. I just came 3 years ago from Puerto Rico. no family here, with a 3 years old baby and pregnant. And I need work, I need study, I need be prepared. I have the subsidy program. It's not easy to apply, a lot of paper, a lot of time, 2 months probably. Yes, but no matter if you have the help, you need to pay. And you need to bring all the things like say, Jackie, you need to bring diapers on food, and you need to pay.
Could you afford that?
Sometimes it's struggling, but yes.
You were able to make it work.
Yes.
Nancy, you have the unique experience of understanding how this challenge particularly impacts Latina and Hispanic women. Why is that a unique challenge?
We need change. We need to make this process more easy for Latino and Hispanic people. Sometimes when people don't have the right documentation, cannot be in a subsidy program or a child care program, it's not easy for working moms.
And so what happens when that mom doesn't have childcare? You said it's a cycle.
Yes, it's a cycle. Sometimes no have a safety place. And one thing we need to be in our minds and remember, childcare is not only childcare. It's a learning process, an emotional and a social learning process, and we need this more easy, less paper, more affordable, easy for working moms, because it's a cycle. When mom cannot work, cannot have childcare, and cannot have a good life for families. All the families affected by this.
So New Jersey is set to receive about $1 billion from the American Rescue Plan Act. And I want to ask each of you, what would be your dream for how those funds are used to help families who are in similar situations as what you've all lived through? Jackie, I'll start with you.
So my dream would definitely be to increase the limit when it comes to applying for subsidy. They have this expectation that, you kind of hit a glass ceiling, so you can't elevate. You can't elevate at all in New Jersey. And it seems as if the moment you make, like I said, 50 cents over what the income is, they're just like, you can figure it out. And you're not accounting for just the basic life needs of New Jersey and how New Jersey goes up yearly on gas and electricity and rent. They don't factor those things in. So mine would be to increase the income requirement for eligibility when it comes to subsidy.
Let me just quickly follow up with you on that, because anywhere that you set the bar, there's always going to be the person who's just above it, right? Who might be just barely making ends meet. Do you believe that there should be flexibility based on other life factors? And how cumbersome could that be when it comes to creating fair and equitable legislation?
I believe that school from the beginning should be free. I don't feel that there should be we shouldn't have to go through a subsidy process. We shouldn't have to go through, can you afford it, can you not afford it? It should just simply be free. And you want to educate the children. You want the children to have the best start in life, but you don't promote that. As New Jerseyans, you don't promote education. You don't promote the health and equity of children. Because if you did, then you would ultimately have free education from the beginning. So subsidy in my heart shouldn't even exist in the state of New Jersey. It should just be that when you have a child and they're beginning to enter school level and school age, no matter what district, no matter your socioeconomical status, you should have free education.
It's an interesting point that you raised, Jackie, because we know that early education is critical to the success of a child, that it has tremendous impact on their earning power, their success later in life. So your argument, which I think is a fair point, is that education starts as soon as a child needs care, right? Am I hearing you correctly?
Correct. Education actually starts in the womb. But Yes, if you want to go, yes, it's definitely from the moment you have your child, from what we hear, from what we interact, our food, what we are ingested in on a day-to-day basis, it's from the beginning. But as far as systemically and systematically, yes, the school districts, it should start at the age of one. Honestly, we should get free education. Children should be able to enter daycare or months actually, right away.
Danielle, what would be your ideal expenditure for this $1 billion that's coming to New Jersey from the federal funding?
I absolutely agree with Jacqueline, but for a very different reason. We talk about equity, and until we make childcare accessible to all children from all socioeconomic backgrounds, yes, but also all ability backgrounds, children like my son will never be truly included. We know that early intervention, not just the program, but actually intervening early in children who have adverse childhood experiences and have disabilities, we know that that improves their quality of life for life. What happens when a child is 5 months old follows them when they're 25 until they're 50. And I think that if we can't afford to do that right now, let's look at the most segregated districts and let's look at former Abbott districts and use those. We have a model for doing full-time affordable childcare, free childcare for ages 3 to 5 in Abbott districts. Why not expand that down to birth? And also have the same requirements that if a child has a disability, that they are simply given an IEP, or if they want to call it something else, but an individualized plan to help support them in that environment. And then children like mine will be included. Children that have parents who can't afford it will be included. Children who have parents that can almost afford it but not really are included. And everybody has the advantage, and New Jersey really will be a leader in education.
Clearly, $1 billion with a B is a significant amount of money, but not enough to kickstart a program like what you're talking about. Do you believe that there needs to be more federal support behind a program like this, or can New Jersey lead the way nationally and prioritize this?
Both. The federal government owes disabled children services and programs that they have never given them from the 1970s when they made a promise. But also New Jersey could choose to prioritize this over other programs. They could choose to have people pay their fair share of taxes. We could make it work, and it might not be able to start amazingly well, but let's try it in a few areas and see what comes of it.
Nancy, how would you spend this money if it were up to you?
Definitely, we need to change the child care in New Jersey. It's not easy to families pay the child care, and it's not only the child care, it's a social and emotional learning process. We need to doing this better for the families, for the working moms. It's hard work and put on the children's in the daycare, and we need to change everything. Less paperwork is, childcare is the same price like the mortgage. You pay the same. Is not easy for families, and sometimes people need a safety place. I know many families cannot afford childcare and find places unregulated, no safety. It's hard. Children are the most important things. We need doing something. We need to be a change maker now, and have the opportunity, have the money, have the funds.
I think you raise a good point. When parents can't afford quality childcare, but they don't want to lose their job and they need to put food on the table, they'll choose an option that's less safe, where their kids may not be well cared for, and that is a dangerous option.
Good food, safety place, yes, it's too hard.
Well, that's the end of our discussion right now. I want to thank our panelists so much for sharing their insight, their perspectives and stories. Jacqueline Boyette, Danielle Feinberg, Nancy Roman, thank you so much. We are now going to move to breakout sessions where over 200 registrants to Strolling Thunder will have a chance to share their views on how the federal funds that are coming to New Jersey should be spent to improve access to affordable, quality childcare. I'm Joanna Gagis. Thank you so much for joining this part of the discussion.
Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, that was an amazing segment. For those who may not know me, my name is Jay Wilson. I'm the founding president and CEO of Melanated Moms. I'm so excited to be here and to be a part of this integrated work with Advocates for Children of New Jersey. That discussion really pulled out a lot of great gems. And it felt really good to hear from moms who are experiencing childcare needs from different angles, right? So we're so excited to be able to empower them and give them the space to advocate for themselves as well as advocate for our children. So you've just heard from our 3 parent leaders. What I'm excited about is we have been working with, Melanated Moms has been working with Advocates for Children of New Jersey to help enable the moms that we've seen, as well as 25 other moms, to be a part of our Parent Leadership Council, which we call Parents Who Roar. These women have spent the last 6 months going through our Find Your Roar training and learning how to find their voice to be the advocates that you saw today. We're very excited to continue that work. And, you know, as the program goes on, we're going to talk a little bit more about how you can also be involved and how you can continue the work of advocacy right from where you are. So I want to, again, thank all of our parents for speaking, sharing their experiences, as well as thanking Joanna Gagis for that amazing interview. Senator Ruiz, are you ready for us?
I am ready, and I am so sorry to everyone. I just was in the middle of, you know, it's budget season. They added a last meeting, so I'm in my car getting ready to move to my next spot, but I would not have missed this for the world. I wish we would be in person with our strollers down in Trenton, but it's great to be a part of this collective Shiro power that I'm getting over the Zoom vibes. I want to thank AC and Jay for always being a partner with me on policy, not for purpose of moving a political agenda, but really to move our children and protect our children and put them at the helm of conversation. So I was able to listen in on the very tail end of the first plenary session you had, and just some of the talking points that were shared currently right now. So I want to share you my experience during this time frame. First of all, hats off to everyone who was the recreation director, the teacher, the mama, still working, the elected official on 3 Zooms at one time while on a Zoom with your daughter while she was learning to, to spell or to read or whatever it was, the snack maker, the caretaker, the ever-ending support power during this most distressing time. And I just want to say, I love you, I applaud you, and I hope that we all collectively take a moment to take care of ourselves now that we're turning a corner, because if we do not do that, then we cannot move forward in making sure that our voices are heard. I was very fortunate during this time frame. A roof over my head, didn't get sick, have a partner at home with me, was employed, and was afforded a 3-2 schedule that, you know, subsequently has shifted, but was able to manage that during that time frame. And like everybody else, if I had had the opportunity to send my daughter to a space, I probably would have selected that in the later part when I felt that it was that it was safe and it was a healthy environment to send her. But we know that access to spots is particularly in certain places. We talk about food deserts. We have a childcare provider desert in a lot of the spaces, and certainly in the district that I represent, we have phenomenal 3 to and upwards. But when it comes to the spaces of the daycare quote unquote setting in the early 0 to 3 space, we're lacking in those variants phenomenally. So I hope that these funds that come in really address an issue that we talked about on the periphery, but people really didn't want to address head on. Women have been impacted the most. Women of color have been impacted the most, and Latina women are the number one group in that sector that were compounded during this COVID-19 pandemic. I saw some of the chat earlier before, and it's true. Women were making decisions whether they were going to keep their jobs or keep their child from learning. No one should have to make that decision. Those are decisions between paying the rent, putting food on the table, or making sure that the quality of life for your child and their trajectory is much different than yours, because you're giving them access to every single opportunity. When all these programs came out of the federal government, I kept saying, how come there isn't just one basic program in there that protects people who don't necessarily want to lose their jobs, but don't have any other opportunities, which were predominantly women who were in these spaces, either deciding to be the caretaker or, not logging in for their children to learn for the school academic year. So as Celia Zalkin will tell you, I'm loud and I'm proud. I put in a resolution right now that creates a women's pandemic relief fund. It's not a lot of money, but it calls for the replenishment of it to deal with women who didn't have access to any funding at all during this time frame, for a one-time payment to see if we can help them, just a little bit in this space with some of the funding that we had. I'm committed to working with all of you to make sure that we move this agenda forward, that we make sure that our providers, even though they may have only been giving 10 slots to a kid, that they are afforded the funding, because if they're not open in September, our economy cannot open back up 100% if we don't have access to affordable, high quality childcare settings. That's just the truth. And the fact that more people don't recognize that these two things are collectively and intimately tied together is always confusing to me. This is a to good government and to good policy. Create high quality education centers. Our families have places to bring our children to grow. We return to work, we make the economy grow, and everyone's taken care of. And when I mean everyone, I mean everyone. Whether you have a social security number or not, whether you speak the language, whether you look different, you act different, you come from a different zip code. Policy has to be inclusive of every single human being if, in fact, we're going to address the equity issues that have been facing us pre-pandemic, that got compounded during the pandemic, and that really is forcing policymakers different from me to say, I understand what you were talking about 10 years ago. I know what learning loss is because my community is being struck by that. I know what food insecurity is because my neighbor during this time frame didn't have enough. And so the agenda that many of us have been advocating for, the pandemic has lent power to it because so many other people have been exposed to it. And this is our time. We have so much funding to make true change and to advocate for change. And so there has to be courage, there has to be honesty, and there has to be truth, and there has to be power. And all of you with your voices lend power to that. And I hope that New Jersey has the courage to really flip the switch here to say, we know that we can do much better, that our systems have been broken for several years. It's time for us to collectively make a change and to put our families first.
Thank you so much, Senator Ruiz. All of your words are just so inspiring. And as a mom and advocate myself, I know that we need women like you who are there and ready to change the narrative of what this all looks like for all of us across the state of New Jersey. I'm going to introduce one of our amazing parent advocates. Naomi has been has been a part of the Advocates for Children of New Jersey for several years, constantly advocating for the needs of her own children, as well as highlighting what it looks like for moms across the state of New Jersey and what their needs are as well. So I really want her to continue to share her voice and explain to us what all of these intersections are and how she's been able to grow as a mom and as an advocate in this space. So definitely without further ado, I would love to hear from Miss Naomi.
Thank you so much, Jay, for that wonderful introduction. Hannah, if you could give me a thumbs up if you could see me and hear me. All right, excellent, perfect. So greetings, everyone. My name is Naomi Donnell, and I am thrilled to be here at Strolling Thunder 2021. I am a mother of 3 and 1 on the way. I currently reside in Essex County. I am a working mother with a college degree, and I'm making it happen for my children, but I just need a little help. I am advocating for adequate services for all mothers, especially mothers of color and their children. Children of color in the state of New Jersey tend to be the furthest from equity, and early childhood services can help close the opportunity gap. Starting from pregnancy, we know that Black mothers in New Jersey are at a greater risk for complications. While I'm grateful to have had 3 healthy pregnancies, I know that there are other mothers that have not had such a positive experience. Oftentimes, healthcare workers are not listening to Black mothers about what is best for them, their care, and their babies. Black mothers and babies in New Jersey deserve respectful care. Once children are born, families need help in order to work. Parents need childcare that is safe, affordable, and high quality. I am currently not able to afford childcare, and I do not qualify for subsidy since I am right at the cutoff of the eligibility requirement. This has had a big impact on me during COVID, since I've had to juggle work and childcare at home. All families deserve access to quality, affordable childcare, no matter what their income is. All of these challenges have impacted my life in many ways. The challenges I face have taken a toll on my mental health, especially during COVID, where there has been little support for families during this time. Mental health services should be available for everyone if they need it. Our government needs to fund comprehensive systems that support families with young children. Paid family leave and bonding time for both parents will also help to support the whole family. As a mom, I need more time to bond with my baby without worrying if I will have enough money or possibly lose my job. Parents need time off to spend with their little one, get settled in with their new baby at home, and just get used to a new routine of life. Paid family leaves help families to make a difference in life. Being a mother of young children is stressful enough. We are raising a future generation of New Jersey, and we need our state leaders to invest in our families like our future depends on it. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. We will now hear from Assemblywoman Lopez, who is a champion for early childhood issues in the state of New Jersey. Thank you, Assemblywoman Lopez.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, I want to thank AC&J and specifically Cynthia and Seal for all of your support over the last 4 years. You have been such an amazing voice for me and for Juan Carlos as we draft legislation in the space of childcare. So again, thank you both so very much. And I hope that our partnership continues like for the next 2 or 3 terms. Yeah, thank you so much. I am so honored to join you once again in Strolling Thunder to continue advocating for affordable, accessible, and high quality childcare for infants and toddlers across the state of New Jersey. The pandemic has been tough on all of us, but especially devastating the childcare industry. And now more than ever, we need to do everything we can in our power to support the recovery of our system. I would also be remiss if I did not thank the bravery and dedication of our childcare personnel who throughout the pandemic remained open, providing vital services for our children. We all know the importance of high quality childcare and the tremendous lifelong benefits that quality care provides. And the pandemic has demonstrated to us all the importance of the childcare industry in relation to our workforce and the economy at large. Simply put, we learned that there is no economy without childcare. Today, I join you not only in support of organizations like AC&J, but also in support of trying to fix the childcare system to create a system of childcare that benefits us all. Fixing the system begins with addressing the attendance policy that has been long plagued. It's been a long plagued childcare issue, and providers have compounded the difficulties facilities face in their operations. I was just listening to the hearing regarding our bill that will hopefully eliminate attendance and allow for the law to provide for enrollment. And I know I only have 2 minutes, so I'll continue with my remarks. As the former director of a preschool accepting subsidy, I know the struggles our providers face to meet the demands of attendance, and know that we as a state must and can do better. Fixing the system means providing our early childhood educators and childcare staff a competitive wage and incentives to ensure that childcare labor pool remains full of top talent, and that they are compensated for the incredibly hard work and important work that they do. Lastly, fixing the system means creating parity for registered family daycare providers, so they too can participate in a quality-based reimbursement system and participate in Grow New Jersey Kids. Childcare is one of our most valuable public goods, and we need to start treating it with the same value and support we show to other public goods in our state. In the legislature, I remain committed to advocating for childcare and working diligently to make improvements to our childcare system. We have the resources and solutions needed to reimagine childcare, and the time is now. I look forward to continue supporting our childcare providers and know that we all will achieve the change we are seeking. I want to thank everyone on this call. Thank everyone on this panel, all the providers. Again, big kudos to AC&J for the tremendous work that they have been doing over the last couple of years in the space of childcare. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Lopez. It is wonderful to see you. And I have to say to everyone on Strolling Thunder, you could not have a better voice in Trenton than the Assemblywoman. She is knowledgeable. She understands the issues. She's committed. She's courageous, but she needs our help. She can't be the lone voice in Trenton. Right. She's done an amazing job educating her fellow legislators and engaging them to support these issues. But this is where advocacy comes in. Assemblywoman Lopez, she alluded to this, just introduced a package of bills that will address some of the issues that were raised today, including support for family childcare, incentives for childcare staff, and also the issue of ensuring that programs continue to be paid on enrollment, not attendance, which has been a huge issue in the pandemic and in helping childcare survive. We're going to keep you all up to date on that legislation, and I urge you to share your thoughts with your own legislators about this. These bills will be very important to pass, and let me thank you sincerely for all the work that you do. It is always wonderful to work with you.
I always appreciate you and say thank you so very much. So I'm headed out now to get my second vaccination. So I just want to say God bless everyone, be well, be safe, and hopefully next year we'll be able to do this in person.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Be well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So we are winding down. I've looked at the comments in the chat. It sounds like the discussions were amazing. My breakout group, number 3, that was headed by Fariel, had a great conversation. And I'm looking forward to the challenge that we'll all have in bringing this all together. There's so much here. Before we close out officially, I just want to bring on Danny Glover from the AC&J staff to talk about where families can go for help. That came up in our chat room. I saw that it came up in other groups as well. There are some places that families can go for help. Accessibility, information, data, were all critical issues discussed. Let me just turn it over to Danny for a minute to talk about where those resources are, and then I'll come back and do the official goodbye. Danny?
Thank you, Sil. Hi, everyone. Today's event has been about your experiences with childcare, and we would be remiss if we did not mention how you can not only access support in searching for care, but the financial support, as well as a variety of community resources. So in every county in New Jersey, there is a childcare resource and referral agency, or you might have heard of CCR&R. Programs for Parents is one, childcare resources in Monmouth County, Children's Home Society, or just a few of them. Services are free and funded by the state of New Jersey. CCR&Rs determine eligibility for childcare subsidies and provide free, customized, individualized childcare referrals, and are the connectors to many community resources that help families thrive. Every CCR&R has a family engagement specialist who connects families with information about choosing childcare and serves as a support, really, to answer any questions. In addition to these services, every CCR&R is also funded to host free virtual events to support parents and their youngest children, infants and toddlers, understand and gain insight into their child's development. These virtual events, as some of you may know, are known as Books, Balls, and Blocks. For more information on these services and the important work of the Child Care Resource and Referral Agencies, you can visit www.childcarenj.gov. And we've also put the link in the chat box. There you can go to the Parents tab, where Child Care Resource and Referral Agencies is a sub-tab on that website. CCR&Rs are New Jersey's and their county's most trusted childcare resource, and we hope that you can access and contact them. There's contact information for every single county in the state. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dani. In closing, I just want to thank everyone, the parents who participated. Your willingness to share your experience and your ideas is so important. It will inform the issues that we bring forward to say we need childcare to be this. So I think your dreams about reimagining childcare we listened to, and we now want to provide a forum to help you bring those to our state leaders. So thank you to all the parents who participated. A special thank you to the ACNJ staff and everyone who made this event take place, but particularly Patricia Canning and Hannah Kornheilner and our partner, Jay Wilson from Melanated Moms. I think in the history of Strolling Thunder, this is our 4th event. This has been the best because it's been your event and we've heard from all of you. Thank you. There's a phrase that's being used a lot that I think to me is a theme in reimagining childcare, and it's looking at childcare as a public good, not just something to help parents work, which of course it's important for. We need to start thinking about childcare the way we do the public schools in terms of the stability, the essential nature of the staff, and why it's so important, not only to the families who need care, but to all of us, to our state, to our economy. And I think that all of your feedback today, the ideas you put forward, I think help us take a step to that forward, to making that a reality. So thank you again. We're happy, thrilled to have listened, to pull this together, and we'll be back. We'll be sharing the summary with you, but also asking you to, as you did today, to use your voices to advocate. So thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody. I'm still on my magic carpet ride. I'm on a magic carpet ride from today, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Thank you. It was great.
Thanks,
great
everyone.
Discussion.
Thank you, everybody. I'll be ending the meeting for everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day.